Although I did it, never get into an unmarked vehicle. You can always use alternatives such as Uber and all the other ones that are coming out nowadays, such as Lyft. And finally, maybe it's just not worth the argument because it might be a small amount for you. It could be an awful lot for the taxi driver. So in the end, just think, is it going to be worthwhile all this hassle just to save a few quid? If you've been caught out by a taxi scam, I've already mentioned about the ones in Mexico when I got caught out with a forged note and the business owner got caught out in Rome. What happened and was it resolved? Did you feel ripped off or did it make not much difference in the end? Just let us know so we can look out for it in the future at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. You can follow me on Twitter at holiday_hut. Still to come, a couple of alternatives to Google Trips, and I must say I've had a play with Google Trips. It doesn't work for me. I'm not that impressed. Not as good as I used to be, but then what will be. And there's some more travel tips and news are coming in as well. I'm going to start off with Vienna, and accommodation in Vienna may be increasing slightly in cost because of the Vienna city is trying to give a level playing field for hotels and people who rent accommodation professionally and those who are using people such as Airbnb. Airbnb and similar companies have really upset the travel industry, so the industry's been lobbying cities to ask them to level the playing field, which means taxes and stuff. And of course, this does mean that prices may go up. And Vienna has issued an amendment making reporting compulsory for anybody who's renting out accommodation to visitors. Doesn't matter whether it's commercial or privately, they have to register it, and that's with immediate effect. Landlords are now obliged to provide all data necessary to establish any tax liability. Compulsory reporting will also apply to room rental platforms on the internet as well. The provincial government of Vienna regulates conditions for the tourist industry, including the local accommodation tax, and this is because of the Vienna Tourism Promotion Act. The tax amounts to 3.2% of the net cost of accommodation and is paid by the guest and applies to both commercial and private accommodations, which is why everybody has to register now. The amendment passed back on the 30th of September now stipulates that landlords must provide the city with the addresses of all accommodations used by tourists within the first 2 weeks of October, so that the latter can ensure that the tax is paid correctly. Room rental platforms will also be obliged to provide data identifying providers as well as the addresses of their rented accommodations. There will be a penalty, of course, and the penalty for landlords failing to meet their tax liabilities has been increased to €2,100. And also at the same time, Vienna has launched a wide-ranging information campaign, so there'll be no excuse. So as I say, and everybody has to register and make sure the tax is paid. Prices might go up in Vienna. Do you think it's a good idea, or do you think that people should be free to rent out rooms if they want to make a bit of cash without having to make sure that taxes are paid to the local council or government? Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Of course, being an ex-travel agent, I'm completely biased and I think everybody should register, but there we go. It's coming to autumn now. It's officially autumn apparently, and that means people will be going around America looking at leaves. And Booking.com has come up with the 12 destinations where you can see some spectacular what they call leaf peeking escapes. I remember seeing on Family Guy they called it leaf peeking. I just see it. I called it looking at leaves, but anyway. It's using the Booking.com's passion search platform again. It gets used every time there's a major holiday. They wheel it out. And I'm going to make a right mess of pronouncing most of these, but bear with me. So number 1 is the Great Smoky Mountains. Number 2, Aspen, Colorado. 3, Lake Superior. 4, Geneva Lake. 5, the Berkshires. 6, June Lake in California. 7, the Green Mountains. You're impressed I've got everything right so far. It's all going to go downhill now. Number 8, the Poncos. I think that's how you say it. And number 9, the Ozarks. Hudson River Valley, Whitefish, Montana, and finally, number 12, the White Mountains. If you go to Booking.com and click on the Passion Search platform, then you'll be able to find out more about these places, if that's the sort of thing you're into. But don't leave it too late, because there might not be any leads for you to look at. If you're ever wondering whether Big Brother's watching you, well, the chances are probably yes, especially if you've got a smartphone. And what happens to people peeking on you? Well, they sell what they found from peeking on you and make some money on it. And there's been a tie-up between Google and Sojourn, and they've come up with traveller customer journey data. And what does that mean? Well, it means not a lot really for you, but it means a lot for businesses. And what it means is they can sell businesses a complex view of traveller research patterns. So the data provided by Google of over 350 million travellers has been mixed with other data to reveal the demographics and psychographics of who is typically researching property destinations and when. And as a summary, you can know that they're finding out which days of the week people are looking for certain holidays, such as Mexico City or Reykjavik, the age of them, where they're based, and what they're interested in doing. This can all be packaged as data, and then people can adjust their advertising to suit. And as I say, this has found that the 5 fastest rising destinations peak on Tuesdays. So you put more adverts on Tuesdays for Tokyo, Mexico City, Toronto, Havana and Reykjavik. They also know that 9 in 10 bookings for the destinations are happening on a desktop, but on the weekends, the mobile queries outpace those on a desktop. So then the weekend you put more mobile ads on. But if you want to know more about that, if you're the sort of person who wants to sell advertising for holidays, perhaps you're a travel company listening to this, you need to get your hands on the Think with Google article called Travel Trends 2016, Data Reveals Hotspots and New Consumer Insights. And you can find that at http://tinyurl.com/JNJMW, all lowercase, 26. And next time you're searching for holiday, just remember, there's an awful lot of people watching you.
What about my phone call? I want to call my family.
Too late now.
Please, please, please.
Step through now, please.
Oh, no.
Too late now.
Here's the goods. You take them in false bottom bag, you strap them to your body, it's up to you.
Look, I've changed my mind. I want out.
Too late now.
So, you're offering me a free holiday?
Yeah,
I just have to bring back something for a friend of yours.
that's right. You get some serious cash.
Right.
Well,
Not too late. Don't get talked into trafficking drugs. Once you're in, the British government can't get you out. Don't throw your life away.
You can keep up to date with travel news and leave me a message at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. In a few moments, I'm going to be talking about a couple of apps that could help you plan your next trip. But before that, I'm going to talk about the holy grail of internet holidays, and that's mistake fares. You know, these are the ones you always find out about when it's too late. The problem with mistake fares, of course, is that they're unpredictable, they're difficult to find, and not only that, they may not be honoured. And who can blame the airlines for not honouring some of them because they're just so ridiculously cheap? So how do you find them? Well, there's a few websites that can help you. One's Airfare Watchdog, and another one's called The Flight Deal. And they report super low fares, but they also share information about which dates and departure cities they're valid for. And to make life easier for you, you can subscribe to receive notifications from these websites when a new post has been posted. Of course, you can also rely on social media. Just keep an eye out on various Twitter lists. Or you can follow both these websites at The Flight Deal or at Airfare Watchdog. And there's also another one called at Secret Flying. Some people have done research on this. I don't know how, because it's not that easy to get information on. But anyway, they believe most of the mistakes end up at the weekends because the IT people are asleep and people might not notice what's going on because all the big wigs are off. But if you do find one, well then what? Well, if you're booking through an online travel agency, such as Booking.com or Expedia, then check to see what the booking conditions are. And why do you want to do that? Well, what you're looking for is a no-fee cancellation if you can cancel the flight within 24 hours. But why would you want to cancel a great deal? Well, if the fare is to a location with limited accommodation availability, or it's peak season, the cost of sleeping could be extortionate and you end up with a very cheap fare, but costing an arm and a leg to actually do anything when you get there. So there's no point in having a cheap flight if your bed's going to be expensive. And also, I mentioned about not being honoured. If the ticket's not honoured, what can you do? Very little other than moan about it on social media. But the chances are that's not going to achieve anything. So last week or the week before, I spoke about Google Trips, an app that's meant to replace people like me when I was a travel researcher. I still don't believe that computerisation has got anywhere close to replacing a person, but unfortunately using a person is extremely expensive. It is a highly skilled job being a travel researcher, honest it is, if you're doing it properly, but the apps and websites are slowly getting close to being as good as I used to be when I did it. One of them I'm talking about now is called Base Trip, and it gives you all the travel information about any country in the world. It includes information about time zones, weather, electricity sockets, currency, exchange rates, cost of living, very important, internet speeds. I didn't do internet speeds, so that was bad on my part. Mobile data prices, health, vaccination, embassies, road rules, visa information, just about anything. And this is all mixed with travel tips from a community. Put in the location and you will be directed to the database covering it. Maybe when I was a travel researcher I should have learnt to write an app, as this is getting quite close to being an electronic version of me. Base Trip also recognises the fact that it may be dream shopping or planning an adventure which is going to be a long way off. And because of this, they've added a little feature where the user can sign up to be automatically reminded of all the information before the big trip. So it's kind of a mix between a Wikipedia database and a social networking experience. You can sign up for notifications, you can join the community of other Base Trip users in order to edit outdated information or to share past travel experiences, a bit like I used to do when I used TripAdvisor for find out information. Even without joining the community, you're able to explore tips written by other users of the app. So if you're more inclined to take advice from travellers who have gone and seen what's happened to where you want to go, then that's probably the app for you. And the other one I'm talking about is Tipspoke, or Tipspoke.com, and it's expanded its reach, and it now enables people to easily find fun things to do in over 60 major American metro areas. The goal of the website is to focus on helping people and families find fun things to do to enrich their lives and make the most of their trip. The Tipspoke team brings together a wide range of experiences to deliver awesome trips worth sharing, and it's got TM there, and it makes life easier and more fun for everyone. They say that it's designed to be easy to navigate. I suppose that's what you're used to. And so people spend less time searching and more time doing. Site visitors will find that the site is divided into categories such as fun things to do at home, travel tips, arts, crafts, family games, magic tricks, jokes, and all sorts of things. It not only focuses on covering popular destinations, but all many that are off the beaten path. And the press release using an activity in Boston, which would find a hand-picked list of over 100 things to do in and around the greater Boston area. If you want to find out more about it, it's tipspoke.com. Checking it out before you check in on the John Guinn Travel Show on ukhealthradio.com. Talking travel news and travel tips on the show this week, and one thing that America does do properly is Halloween. Screams.com, a large group of Halloween lovers, has visited haunted attractions around the US in search of the biggest, scariest and most unique and elaborate attractions. And so they've compiled a list based on fear factor technology, costume design, overall uniqueness, size and quality to bring you the top 13 must-see haunted houses in the USA for 2016. And as always, when it comes to reading lists, especially when it's not in the UK, I'm going to have trouble pronouncing most of these words. But anyway, here we go. Number 1 is 13th Gate at Baton Rouge in Louisiana. Then it's Bennett's Curse in Baltimore, Maryland. Fair Farm and Phoenix,